Happy Friday! I hope you're doing well no matter where you are. Today I want to share a story. It's a long time ago. I was a little child and I got this family domestic violence. I was so scared but also so sad. I was always hiding, and at night I will bury my head under the blanket, just cry, and I don't want anybody to be aware of that. And after crying, I felt so much better. There's a lot of stories behind the scenes about what I just shared, and if you haven't heard yet, you can turn to my book, The Joyful Leader in You. I shared many of the details there. But this is not about me today, my friend. If you've got a childhood like that, if you had some really, really bad experiences when you were little, particularly when you were at school, teachers can say really bad words about you. They could not believe in you, and so on. Remember, teachers are human themselves. They are also learning and growing. Teachers are not perfect. None of us is perfect. But the problem is, when we were little, the seed that was sowing in us, either the words from the teacher or the parents, usually will always brings us some secretly sitting in us, but we didn't even realize until we grow up and realize that, wow, that belief I had long time ago and the words that they told me another day is still hitting me and I still feel hurt. And sometimes the funny thing is, when we grow up, we become a bit silly just because of what happened to us back then. Maybe a teacher said really bad things about us. We either become really, really unconfident, or we say to ourselves, I could do better than that. I need to prove to them that I am not what they're saying about who I am. There are many stories like this, my friend. And in my story, when I was little, as I just said, my parents' problem, and these are a lot of burden that I had to carry back then. But the thing is, what I realized that what happened to me, in fact, was not to me, it was for me. Why did I say so? If it's not because I was facing so much challenges, and it's not because that I need to cry every night, not every night, but most of the nights when there's a fight, there was something happened and I didn't know how to deal with it, and I would not go to write the journal, write the notes, write my diaries. Like, I need to tell myself what happened today because I couldn't find anybody to tell. I had to look for the most positive things to look at. And it turned me to a very optimistic mind that I had to think in different ways. Because if I didn't know how to come out. I didn't want to end my life. I didn't want to escape, even though there were so many times that it went to my mind that just escape, or I wish I wasn't existing in this world. All these bad thoughts just attacking me back then. But I didn't choose on that. I chose to the positive way. I chose to move on. I chose to move fast. I chose to write down my pain and then comfort myself and find different perspective, different mindsets, different ways to get myself out. And that is why I have become who I am today. But the question is, my friend, you need to ask yourself, it's not about what happened to you before or what is happening today. It's more about what do you want to be happen tomorrow. Or let's turn it this way. It doesn't matter what happened to you before because it's already gone. It's already a past. Past is a great teacher but a bad leader, as we know that. And no matter what happened today, yes, something will happen to you today. It matters a little bit, but it doesn't matter if you think about what is going to happen tomorrow. And who you want to become tomorrow is more important than who you were and who you are right now. As I was talking about be optimistic, I had done a research, and it's funny, these are the things people voted that they thought these are the worst things happened in life. And we all know each one of us had different pain, different stories back then, or maybe right now. You lost someone, whatever that is, my friend, you are not alone. All of us have things that's suffering. All of us had painful stories and had things that we need to heal from. And that's why I want to share today, how can we think differently? How can we be optimistic when something something really bad, terrible happened to us? How can we think? So let's unpack this together. And no matter where you are, if you're suffering right now, if you have something that's like, why is this happening to me? Like, couldn't think properly, or you are losing your purpose. Like, we know many people hate their jobs. So I think there was research like about 70 or 80% or even up to 90% people hate their job, hate what they're doing, but they had to do what they're doing. And some people just persuade themselves to love what they're doing, which is great. The facts that we need to understand and we need to remember that you have to know why you're doing this and what is your purpose. Without knowing why, you're going nowhere. You get off track, and one day you will be like Simon Sinek. He used to be a great CEO and he had a successful business. All of a sudden, he just shut down. He didn't want to do anything. He hates what he was doing. He lost his track. But it's okay if you lost your track, because what happened to Simon is after that, he bounced up again, he fly up higher, and he became much more powerful because he chose to be authentic, he chose to be vulnerable, he chose to be honest. And sometimes we can still have these bad thoughts and the bad things that we're thinking, or bad beliefs that we were telling ourselves. But it's not about that, my friend. Being optimistic, and it is also like a habit, right? Habit takes time to practice. In fact, everything in our life takes time to be built up, whether it's a good habit or bad habit. It doesn't just happen in one day. When you had it once, it's just an accident. When you have the second time, it's a choice. And that's what we're here for, my friend. I want to unlock this with you, and I want you to find the amazing purpose of your life and be more optimistic, not just like blindly optimistic, but when you change your mind, change your mindset, that's where your life will be changed. So let's get started. Now I'm sitting a bit further from the camera because it was too close, right? Didn't you realize? I'm still getting used to this, even though I've been doing this for so long. It's always easier to look at someone's face and do this rather than doing the recording, because I have to imagine that you're right here, I'm talking to you, and I have to imagine how you look like, where you are, and so on and so forth. So let's get started. Here are the things I have written down. So one of the things he's talking about, the worst thing that's happened in life. Number one is be buried alive. This is creepy, my friend. Buried alive. It happened to a woman, like they thought she was dead, but she wasn't. And then they start to bury her, and then she starts to move, and she just want to get out. It's pretty scary anyway. But that happens. That's the worst thing in life. For this case, we cannot comment whatever you happen to you, but you can just say, oh wow, that's a terrifying experience. But you can also say it can become a story that people will be shocked, and you have a story to tell in an optimistic way, of course, and you're so glad that you wasn't buried, you still came out, which is good, right? That's the worst thing, but after every worst thing, there's always the light. So after all the dark tunnel, you always see the light. People are voting, talking about go to hell. That's the worst thing. I think that's probably number one worst thing, rather than just being buried alive, is that we know as Christians we believe in Jesus. We know that we go to heaven. But if you don't have Jesus to encounter, it is too bad that you have to go to hell. And it's not a great thing to be. So that's one of the worst things people voted. And the number three is lose a relative, very close relative, like lose a child, lose your mom, your dad, brother or sister. That's pretty sad. And let's talk about this a little bit. And when we lose someone, it takes time to heal, especially when you go to the house. You see the things that you used to do together. Wow, I could like cry. I can be really emotional when talking about that. And imagine if one of the people that you love, you always see them, they just gone suddenly. It takes a long time to heal. But on the other side, when we look at this, is we cannot control what we cannot control. The thing that we can control is our response and how we see things. I mean, imagine the person that you love that they already gone. Imagine they are still here, what they want to see you to do. And to be honest, even if they're here, you're not seeing each other every day sometimes. And it doesn't make too much difference if you just have them living in you, in your mind, your spirit, and that fills you with more power and energy. I would say about my grandpas, like I got two grandpas when they passed away, one grandma as well. When I knew the news, I was like, oh no, I was crying and couldn't focus. And it's hard when someone you see very often suddenly they're not there anymore, like couldn't reach out to them anymore, like when you want to say you love them but you didn't even have chance anymore. So these are really sad things, my friend. What we can do now is maybe what happened can remind us what we can do right now so that we feel better in the future, or we don't have any regret. We can still take up people around us who's still alive, because people's gone, they already gone, you couldn't do much, right? But the people who are still here, you still can do many things. You still can show love, show kindness, spend time with them, give them a call, send them a nice message. These are the things we can do, my friend. So that's called optimistic mind, because we only can control what we can control. For things that are out of control, if we keep thinking about it, it's only going to drag us back and pull our energy out, and it doesn't help us to live our life fully, and it doesn't help us to move forward fast either. I'm not saying you shouldn't be mourning, you shouldn't be memorizing these people, we should be, but it's about the balance. We need to move on. We need to do something that it's even reflecting how precious that person has influenced you, how has inspired you, or something that they've done really well that will live in, like as a legacy and live in your mind, your memory forever. And that's the beauty of it. If you want to honor that person, respect that person, then you should do something that's even better, that's even more meaningful than just saying, oh, I'm so sad you're not here anymore, you're not with me anymore, right, my friend? The other things that were written there were terrifying. Being present, die, see the love of your life with another, get a serious illness and disease, lose a loving pet, be blind, accidentally kill someone. Well, these are the stories that I heard before as well, like dying. The thing about dying is that death is definitely unavoidable, right? I'm talking about physical death. So we all have to face that day. So that's something we have in common, my friend. It is not about focus on the death itself. It's about, of course, I believe in Jesus. I have faith. That's great. So if something happened today, I'll be sad because, if something happened to me, I'm not here. I might be like, oh no, I still have so many things I want to do. But if it's a time, it's a time. Like, we have to get rid of the fear of death because it's something that's already there. You only have one way to go through. You're just standing there, you don't want to go, and you're losing all your time, energy, just being worried and fearful. But you know your destination is there anyway, right? What's the point? So instead of focusing on that, let's focus on how can we make the full use of it, do the meaningful things, make more impact, make more influence, and helping more people, and have more spiritual gain, like helping, right? Donation, charity, or contribute, being a volunteer, whatever that is to you. When we focus more on this, then your life's going to be like eternal. The feeling is like, wow, I'm feeling great. I've impacted one person. Maybe you're a teacher, impact a child. This child has grown, and this child will become one of the future leaders. This child can influence and impact 1 million, 2 billions, or even 1 billion people, even more. You never know, my friend. And the thing is, if you only focus on yourself, only focus on your path, only focus on where you are going to be, which you know that all of us will go to be the end of the road, and that is the destiny that we're going to die physically, or you should focus on the things that you can do, that you don't even have time to think about that. And as time goes by, you've done so much and you feel so great. Before you turn your eyes, like if anything happened today, whatever it is, you feel like, I feel great. Like there's nothing I will be sad about if it's a day, right? So, it's not that easy, of course, but if we practice that, the more we practice these thoughts, that become more optimistic and be more faithful instead of fearful, you will see a significant change in your life, and you will be more courageous, and you will make wise decisions, because whenever a decision is made because of fear, then it's most likely you're going to regret. But when you make a decision that out of faith, faith is something that you can't see, but you believe. And faith comes from the deep of from your heart and your belief that you move the first step, and the second step, you see the vision. And everything starts from nothing. Everything was coming from nothing to something. And that's why when you can't see, that's where you need to have vision. When you have vision, you reach the goal and you get there. Anyway, talking about the physical death, so we're not worried about anymore, my friend. And the other one you mentioned here, I just mentioned, is this a very crazy story I heard recently. I'm not telling the name, but it's one of the friends' friend. This guy, he went to the court recently, and then people are asking. It's a very strange story anyway. So literally, this once he was driving and on the, I think a mountain road or something like that, on a hill, and some accident happened and he didn't even know that it was an accident. He saw there's some kangaroos, whatever. He didn't check and just left. And then the next day there's news, somebody was killed on the accident, and the driver just left. And after so long, people just find out that driver, and which is friends, I just said. And it's really fascinating, and it's like, it feels so sad, right? The person had to admit that he did it, but he didn't even know he did it. And imagine you wake up one day, then someone told you just killed someone. So what? No, I didn't. What's going on? Like, it's scary, terrifying, my friend. But whenever something happens in your life right now, imagine if you are this person. What can be worse, right? There are many things in life right now. Maybe you're feeling you're so down, you don't know where to go, you're so focused on the problems that's like, oh, I don't know if I can do this. It's all doubt and fear, my friend. If you start to focus on what you have, what you can do, your life's gonna be so amazing. And you'll see the unlimited skies. Like, wow, there are so many things I can do. Wow, I have so many resources right here. Let's get started. One step at a time. Let's do a small thing every day. And by the end of the year, I got 365 things done, right? How amazing is that? So be optimistic isn't just about talking about it. It's more about an exercise, practicing in your mind, in your thoughts, your mindset as well, and then make it as a great habit to think positively. It's not just saying positively or just say once and just pretend that you're positive. It has to be the inside, from inside out, that you truly believe that if you believe, you can achieve.